Salim dostlarım, benim adım Tarhan. Şimdi bugün biz machete steak, chimichurri saucepan pişireceğiz. Today we are going to be using the Grill King Royal Bonfire. This is a product that's about to be released from us, and it's the first of our new product line, the King's Collection. And so we're gonna light this and get this going right here. We're gonna use this birch wood, and the bark actually lights up really quick and easy. One of the things special about our new Royal Bonfire is this is made with a reduced smoke, high airflow system technology. So when it starts, you're going to see the typical smoke, but because you can see in here all the specially engineered airflow holes and a secondary burn system, this thing will burn hot, fast, and once it warms up, it'll have drastically reduced smoke. And so it's perfect for us cooking. So let's get this fired up and we can prepare this meat. Now that we just started the fire, while we let it heat up and warm up, we're going to prepare the chimichurri sauce. So the chimichurri sauce, we have a few ingredients. We have parsley, we have garlic, I have some mixture of this is red pepper flakes, oregano, black pepper, and salt. We can give you the whole ingredients later. Then we have some olive oil and red wine vinegar. So to start, we need to take this garlic and we need to crush it. And so here what we're going to do is we're going to chop it finely. This is a good opportunity to practice knife skills. We're going to turn it and we're going to chop it again. It doesn't need to be super fine, but we do want it to mix in well and add flavor across the whole sauce. So it's a good time to use your rocking feature on your knife. And so that should be just about perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this garlic and we're going to throw it in with our spices. Next we need to do is chop the parsley, kind of in the same system. So we don't want the stems, we just want the nice, beautiful leaves. So rotate it. So we're not trying to make a paste. This is actually going to be a sauce, but we do want it fairly chopped up. And so you see here, we have some bigger pieces, some smaller pieces, and that'll work great. So let's add this in here. And now what we have is we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You really can't do too much olive oil in it, as that's the main liquid in it. And then we're going to add some red wine vinegar. So let's mix it up and let's see how it looks. You can do this the day before, but I prefer that we do it fresh right before. And so it's a good time while the fire heats up, we can get the ingredients prepped and ready to go. So we're actually going to add just a little more olive oil. And this is some beautiful chimichurri sauce. So we will set this aside and we'll get the steak prepped now. So for today, we are going to use some beautiful machete steak from Cause Beef. We pick this up from Meat Market, and it's really convenient. Here in Almaty, they'll deliver to you at any time, and so it's real easy to get whatever type of steaks you want. And I found that the steak here is just like steak I got back home in America. It's wonderful quality, and I've been very happy. So we're going to take one of these out, and we're going to prep it up for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just wipe this down and get a little of the extra juice off of it. All right, perfect. So the difference between a low quality steak and a high quality steak almost all comes down to the marbling. And let me show you this. The marbling is the fat that's inside of the steak. And so you see this is why it is wonderful quality steak. It's a beautifully marbled cut of meat. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna cut this right in half, and we're gonna cook these two pieces right here. So one thing to pay attention to with machete steak is which way the grain runs. If you can see here, the muscle fibers run this way. That's going to be important for how we cut the steak when we go later on. So to start, we're going to do this really simply today. We're going to take some olive oil, and we're going to drizzle some olive oil on. And we're just going to rub it in. Okay. Then we're going to take some salt, and we're going to season it just like this. Nice and spread through. And then we're going to take some pepper. We use this light seasoning because we don't want to change the flavor of the beef. We want it to taste a beautiful beefy flavor when we're done. So we're going to flip it over and we're going to repeat the same thing. So a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And then we're going to put some salt and pepper. All right. So now what we do, these are ready, and we'll let them sit for 5 or 10 minutes while the fire finishes heating up. All right, so now we have the fire burned down to a smaller temperature and the sear plate has heated up. Our sear plate on the Royal Bonfire has been designed to have 3 different zones. The first zone, this inner rim, is really hot for searing a steak. This second third is quite hot for cooking. And then this part here, you can see, is still only warm to the touch. And that's so we can have food sit on the outside when it's ready, it stays warm, and people can eat it. You see now that the fire has warmed up a little bit, the smoke has drastically reduced rather than a normal fire that has smoke in my face the whole time. So it makes it real comfortable for cooking. So without more talking, let's get these steaks on and get them cooking. And so we move these steaks right into the inside of the edge because we want them to get a nice sear on them. Machete steak is a really thin steak. It doesn't take lots of cooking, and we throw it right on. We don't need to add olive oil on the stainless steel because we already added it on the steak. So let's get this cooking for just a few minutes, and then we'll flip it over and see how it goes. All right, so this has only been 30-45 seconds. But we're going to flip it over and we're going to get the other side seared too. Look at that searing on it. It is beautiful and gives a nice crust. So with the way that this is designed is once we get the crust and the sear on both sides of the meat, we can scoot it away from the fire just a little bit and allow it to cook through to whatever our desired temperature is. This makes it so we don't need to control how hot the fire is. We can just control the cooking zone to get a great cooking experience. So the more barbecuing you do, the more you will just be able to tell how well the steak is done and to what tenderness or rareness it is inside. But to get that chance out of the mixture, you can always pick up one of these quick read thermometers like we have here. These aren't ready, and I'm sure they're probably far before rare. But what you do is you take it and you insert it right into the middle. And for a medium meat or medium steak, you want about 71 degrees Celsius. And so you see this is about 50. So right now, because we have a, see this one's 60, slower. And so you see this is a thicker piece and it's 44. So because of that, what we want is we want to have them done around the same time and to the same finish. We're going to use this second zone now that both sides have a nice sear, and we're going to move it away to a hot portion but not a searing portion of the steak, right? So it can finish cooking the rest of the way through. The same with this big piece right here. And you see it's real hot, but you don't have a risk of burning it or overcooking it because you have different zone options. One way that you know that our grill plate here is ready is you'll start seeing it tilt in to the inside. So we've designed it so when the fire gets hot, this thing actually dips towards the inside a little, and it lets all the oil and everything run into the fire and not land on your feet or the guests that you have around. So it's really good for cooking, and it's really safe, and so it's an important feature to have. Okay, so these things are right about done, but we're going to give them a quick check. So this is right in the medium rare to medium well range, and this is the thicker piece. That's right in medium rare. That's right about medium rare as well. So what we're going to do is, it's always important after you cut a steak, if you want it to be the most juicy and delicious as possible, you need to give it a few minutes to rest, which allows all the juice to come back to the center of the meat and makes for a wonderful cut. So we're going to pull these off and we're going to let them rest for a few minutes. So now it's ready to cut the meat. We've let it rest for about 10 minutes, and now we are going to cut it, and I'm going to show you how. How you cut a piece of machete steak is very important. It's the difference between a tough piece of meat that tears your teeth out or a really soft, tender bite. So come and look. Remember how we said that the grains run this way on the steak? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut with the grain, like this, and then we are going to flip it. Now we are cutting against the grain. So we're going to cut these nice bite-sized pieces against the grain. And look at them. This is a nice medium, and it'll make a really tender piece of meat that pulls right apart. So we're going to cut the rest of this, and then I'm going to show you what we do next. So now that we have this beautiful piece of meat, we're going to take it and we're going to bring it right over here, and we're going to put it right on the warming piece of the barbecue. Remember I said this is just warm to the touch, and it is perfect for sticking your meat in this social experience. Now, remember the chimichurri sauce we made? This is where the magic happens and it all comes together. This version of the Royal Bonfire is all about an experience that you get to have with you and your guests, you and your friends. It's a bar height table that you can sit around, you can enjoy a nice fire, you can cook together, and you can enjoy some delicious meat. And so with that, I'm going to enjoy the first piece myself. Oh, damned. With the chimichurri sauce, That's just perfect.